That's impossible. That might be tough given our timeline. I don't like that idea. I have a few reservations about that approach. Send me the report by the end of the day. Would you mind sending me that report over by the end of the day? Why did you do that? Could you walk me through your reasoning behind that decision? We can't afford that. That might stretch our budget a bit too far right now. You forgot to include the numbers. It looks like we're missing the latest numbers in here. You need to stop talking and decide. In the interest of time, let's lock in a decision. That makes no sense. Help me understand how that fits into the main strategy. You need to fix this now. We need to prioritize getting this resolved quickly. That's not my job. That might be better handled by the operations team. It's your responsibility to know the communication style of the country and the people you're dealing with. As we know from other videos that depending on the country you're speaking with, they could be very strong, assertive and aggressive. And yet other countries are very calm, very implied, very quiet and unassuming. And so there's always a scale, and different countries fit somewhere different along that scale. If you remember the book we looked at, Aaron Meyer's The Culture Map. Very good book. I recommend you reading it for anybody that does international business. So here's just 10 different ways that might be okay in your country or for your office to say these things. But in other cultures that might come across as aggressive, as too harsh. And so that will get people's backs up. That's a phrase meaning their back would rise up like a dog that is angry. Rub me up the wrong way. It would make me feel on the back foot and not want to do business with you because I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know if you're kind and calm and open to criticism, open to feedback. So the way you communicate really makes a big difference. And like I said, knowing the other country. So just as an example, we can't afford that right now, where there's emphasis and a tone and harshness in your voice. A lot of people might find that hard to swallow, that delivery. So that might be a stretch of our budget right now. That might stretch our budget a bit too far right now. So we're taking out the passion and the energy, and we're just bringing it around about the team, about the company, all right? That might, so we're putting in the word might. We do that a lot in English, actually. We try and soften everything. So that might stretch our budget a bit too far. Well, really, what we're actually saying is, no, that's too expensive. But the polite way is saying it might stretch our budget a bit too far right now. So when we look down here, there's harsh tones. It comes across as authoritative and like a parent or somebody that's in charge that wants to be like a policeman or a judge giving that parental tone at you. And in a lot of countries, that will just cause a lot of trouble. A lot of people will not want to cooperate if you are dictating to them how they should do their job, being micromanaged or at least just the way you communicate. And in other countries, including the UK, a softer tone is going to equal much more collaboration. And collaboration for the team equals being productive. All right. So, for example, if you were in the UK and you went to an office in London and you spoke like this in red, most of the team, not everybody, but most of the team would be like, I ain't doing anything for him. Going to talk to me like that. And they would go on strike passive aggressively. So you might be saying, I asked you for the report, or I told you to send me the report. And they might have a passive aggressive response. Something like, oh yeah, well I gave it to so-and-so and he gave it to somebody else. Passing the buck. Keep you running and chasing after something. Because, for example, in the UK, nobody likes that strong, authoritative tone. It doesn't make a team. But like I said, you need to know, it's your responsibility. You need to know the country and their communication style in regards to how they prefer to be talked to. Some countries are extremely direct. And other countries like the UK, much more implicit and passive. Much more softer, gentler tone. You can almost say the exact same thing, but just changing your volume, your cadence, slowing it down, and then maybe put some warmth in your voice. So instead of that's impossible, that might be a bit tough, really, given the time we've got now. So you're softening it down. And you might say that's using kid gloves, which is a phrase meaning like if you're boxing with somebody, you would be more gentle if they are new, or if they are smaller, you would be gentle. You'd use kid gloves. Speak to them gently and with respect. And so that's how things work in the UK and in lots of other countries. You have to be very thoughtful, considerate, and sensitive in the way you're communicating, especially if it can be looked at as being negative or if it can be critical. And we've talked about giving feedback before. So just to round it off, just to finish it off, focus on pivoting away from an aggressive tone and towards a non-emotional collaboration. Help me understand. All right, so that's taking the directness out of it and making it into a collaborative. Can you help me understand why? Walk me through your thoughts on how you made this decision. Just help me understand. Again, taking the sting out of it, taking the bite out of it, the aggression out of it. I see things a little differently. Maybe because you've got more data. Maybe because you've been to more meetings. Maybe you have a different perspective altogether, whether it's culture or whether it's within the same company. So that's just 3 easy ways to take the energy, the passion, and the emphasis and the sting out of your communication when you're in an office, a boardroom, a video call, especially to people in different countries. So like I said, it's your responsibility to know how they communicate, where they are on this spectrum. All right, because all we want is collaboration. There's no point in upsetting anybody by being assertive and strong and dominant. And that's especially when you're speaking to, say, for example, Asian countries, and allowing time for Asian people or people that are more reserved, more conservative, more quiet, allowing specific time in a meeting for them to talk. Even if you have to allocate it in your meeting, okay, this is the time for this company or this country to say their thoughts and share their ideas. Maybe even they want to come back tomorrow after they've deliberated, after they've digested the information before they make a decision. So you have to be considerate of the other party and how they communicate. All right, that's it for today. See you in the next one.